Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk with Renisha. What would you say your biggest goal or accomplishment is in life? Well, join me in this episode as I speak with an accomplished actress, voiceover actor, and real estate broker. You would never guess, though, what her biggest and most important role in life is. I'll see you on the inside with Real Talk with Renisha. See you there. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Renisha. I'm Renisha. This is the podcast that aims to empower, inspire, and I hope that so far all of the interviews are doing just that. Today, of course, I have another amazing guest, and she's hailing all the way from the Bay Area in California. She's an actress. She's a real estate broker. She's a mom. She's a voiceover actor. She's a business owner. I would love to introduce you guys to Miss Mashari Bane. Hi, Mashari. Welcome
Hi,
to Real Talk.
thank you so much. Hi.
I'm so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. So you're my first actress. I hope the first of many, though.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. It's good to have you on Real Talk. And we're going to have an amazing conversation today because we're not only going to talk about her being an actress, but other amazing attributes of this multifaceted woman. So, my first question to you, you're an actress. I want to know all about how that began. You know, what
Mhm.
makes one want to be an actress? So, tell us a little bit about how that started for you.
Well, I'm sure everybody has a story like this, but for me, it actually started in second grade. And I laugh because I wasn't a child actor, and I'll get to that. So I
Okay.
was 7 years old, and my classroom did a performance of The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
And I didn't know what acting was, or I was really, really shy. I didn't know. But I received a script and I just memorized the whole script like that, like immediately. And when
Wow.
it came down for tryouts, I refused to try out. I was too shy. So my brother actually came to the classroom and he advocated for me. He's like, "My sister knows this whole play. She knows it. Show him what you got." And I just
Wow.
sat there and didn't do anything. Long story short, I ended up playing a munchkin because they just gave the people that didn't actually have a role a munchkin. And I got on that stage and I said my line, which was "We're free, we're free." And it felt so good to be in front of an audience. And that's when I caught the quote unquote actor bug, right? I knew I wanted to perform. I always wanted to be an actor, model, comedian, dancer, something in the arts. But it
Mm.
wasn't until college. I went to Columbia College in Chicago. And it wasn't until college where I really like was able to hone my craft, and I ended up getting on their college soap opera and
Mm.
did a ton of theater, and then started my professional theater career after I graduated, and then film and television once I relocated to Los Angeles.
Wow. So stage fright is real. It's a
It's
real
real.
thing. It's a real thing.
And people don't believe me when I say I'm shy because I'm a pretty extroverted person now. But when I was a kid, I was really, really scared and really shy. It took college to get me to like come out of my shell and be a performer
Wow.
for real.
Oh my gosh. I've always heard that most actors are also introverts. Is that
Yeah,
true?
several. Yes, yes, absolutely. I think for me too, it's like when I'm not me, when I'm an
Mhm.
actor, it's like whatever happens on stage, whatever happens on camera happens because I'm playing someone else.
Okay.
But when asked to give a speech or perform, that's when sometimes the nerves can kick in because it's like, oh, now I have to be me.
Wow.
And I'm shy. Now I'm better. But definitely, definitely as a kid growing up. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, I mean, nerves are still very much a part of it. And I think for a lot of actors, and I will say a lot of people that I've worked with,
Mhm.
they are introverts. They don't like to be in front of the camera, but they do this for a living. So go figure.
It's amazing because it's such an oxymoron, isn't it?
Right.
It's so
Absolutely.
amazing.
Kind of
Yeah.
goes away against your nature in that way. Yeah.
You're
Mhm.
right, though, when you say, when you're acting, you're being someone else. You're not really
Mhm.
being you. So it's okay to play someone else. But
Right.
when you really
Exactly.
have to be you now, because we're so critical of who we are in our own
Exactly.
self, I can
Yeah.
see that happening. Well, I'm not gonna be me. They're gonna
Right.
judge me because I'm being me now.
Right. And if the character looks bad, like say the hair is messed up, the makeup's messed up. I remember one of my first acting jobs on television. I was uh I was playing a let's see, how do I put this? Someone of the streets, and they jacked me up. Like they had my hair all messed up. They put on this mad, like bruised makeup and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go out there looking like this. And I'm like, you know what? That helps me with my character. Let me just go out, and I had no control over it. I had to go out there and do my thing, and it was
Correct.
fun. It helped my role. It really did, because I felt the insecurity of the girl I was portraying. So yeah.
But of course, Mashari would never go out like that.
Never go.
Old self in public ever.
Right,
That's the difference.
exactly. Exactly.
That's the difference. Tell us a little bit about your voiceover work. Because I remember when you and I was having a conversation, you asked me, where's your accent from? So you picked it up
Hmm.
right away and you were very interested.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So at the same time I started my theater career, I started my voiceover career. And voiceover is basically the voices you hear in commercials, radio and television promos, animation shows, things like that. So
Yeah.
I've pretty much done it all. I've
Yes.
been doing voiceover since 2000. Oh my gosh. So 24 years. That's crazy to think
Wow.
about. Um, Mostly I would say, I mean, I kind of do a combination of everything. I do commercials,
Hmm.
promos, as I mentioned, narration for different projects, animation, video games. And
Wow.
one of my favorite things to do is the English dubbing for international shows. That's so fun. Like I get to do like, it's almost like karaoke where the lines come across the screen and I have to match the cadence of the actor, but in
Mhm.
my voice. Those are fun. So yeah. It's a very integral part of my career. It's actually what I primarily do at this time. So
Sounds like a lot of
super.
fun. So
It
do
is.
you do you get to like speak in different accents?
I do. I do. And I won't insult you by trying to do your accent. But all I need to really do is hear it a few times. Like I've done
Yes.
West African, East African,
Ooh,
Caribbean,
yes.
obviously Southern, New York, all those different things, Midwest. California, just
Right.
every area, every region of the US has an accent,
Yes.
also the world. I will admit I'm not good at certain accents, and I will not claim to try to do them. I've
Okay.
embarrassed myself before trying to do some accents. And every once in a while, my accents will blend. So I'll start
Yes.
off Caribbean and end up Indian, like East Indian. Like,
Yes.
oh my gosh,
I love
no, this is
it.
horrible. So I try to stick to what I'm used to and what I can do, and do that confidently. But accents
Excellent.
absolutely help a lot with your career, like in voiceover.
Yes.
The more accents you have in your repertoire, the better.
Yes, I can see that though. Well, I mean, I practice my British accent all the time.
Do you?
Just
I do that.
FYI.
Yes.
Yes, darling.
You never know when it will come in handy.
One never knows, does one?
Yeah.
It's fun. I do have a lot of family in England, so I do get to spend a lot of time there and speak with them. So every once in a while, I'm picking it up,
So
a
when
little
you go there,
twang here and there. You know how that is.
when you go there, do you end up with speaking like they do at the end?
You're there for a couple of days, literally, and you come
Really?
back speaking a couple of twangs. I call it a twang.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
just a couple of days, and you can pick it up, because they speak their own thing all the time.
Right.
So you just
Yeah.
pick it up and you just pick up a couple of their slangs,
Mhm.
love and chips and fish and
Right.
chips and
Right. Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
that's been cool.
Hmm.
And of course, living in New York, we have our own New York accent. And then I grew up in Brooklyn. I am Caribbean. So I have all of this mixture. So sometimes people,
Yeah.
where are you from? They can't pick it up.
Yeah.
It's
And
different.
that's what I was telling you before about New York. It's like I
Yes.
go there and my ears go, I'm hearing everything. I'm hearing everything in one person speaking. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. That's so cool. I'm
That's
really sensitive to the way people
amazing.
speak because I do voiceover.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
tell our audience what shows might they have seen you in?
You know what? This is a fun fact. Fun fact about me.
Okay.
Um, One of my favorite shows was Grey's Anatomy. I
Yes,
had
love
the
that
best time
show.
with that. It was just, it was great. I actually, one of my friends like texted me the other day and he's like, did you know that your photo is the screensaver for the episode that you were in? I said, what? So that's a little fun fact. You go to Netflix, the
Yeah.
show's called Gut Feeling, and my little picture is right there in the little screenshot.
Oh, wow.
Debbie
Cool.
Allen came and she played with my hair. I was like, Debbie Allen. I mean, the cast was great. Criminal Minds.
Oh, love it.
Gosh, what other shows have you guys seen me in? Shameless. Those are the last three that I was on, and then
It's,
yeah, I'm trying to
it's
think what
so
else. I
cool.
have a movie right now on Tubi called Simone, which was an independent film that
Oh,
a
cool.
friend of mine produced, and I play Simone, a woman who's being stalked by a cyber stalker. It's crazy. It's
Very
fun. It's
real.
a
Yes.
little scary, but it's worth a watch. If you have a chance to go on Tubi, check out Simone.
Definitely will check it out. And in the description of our interview, I'll put that in there as well. So,
Oh,
of course, people can go see. Yeah, she's really real. She's an actress. Yeah, she's been in some, really a mix. I love Great Anatomies, Criminal
yeah.
Minds, all of those types of shows. Absolutely love those kind of shows. So
Thank
definitely will
you.
be looking out for you in those episodes. That's great.
Awesome.
Miss Multifaceted. One more thing she does. She's actually also, like I said in the intro, a real estate broker and owner of her own real estate company. So tell us a little bit about how that got started for you.
So, ironically, so I started off in property management back
Mm,
in the day when I was hustling doing 80,000 jobs.
yes.
Part of my job, one of my jobs was a property management
Mhm.
and manager. And that was a great way to supplement my rent so I can
Yes.
go out and pursue my acting career. Every job I've ever had has been so that I can pursue my acting career.
Yes.
So with that history, once I bought a house, I was no longer doing property management. And I had met my husband, had a child, and I felt like I needed to do something more substantial. I mean, again, acting is great, but I wanted something a little bit more steady. So I thought,
Okay.
real estate. How can I transfer my knowledge of what I already have done into something that's going to make more money? So I decided to get my sales license. After about 3 years, I decided to get my broker's license. And then once I got my broker's license, I formed my company, MBO Properties, which actually stands for Moon Bane Ogunyoku, which is my two generations. My mother, my grandmother Moon, my mother Bane, and my married name Ogunyoku, and my daughter's name to represent the three generations. But my actual name is Mashari Bane Ogunyoku as well. So it
Wait, go
can go
back
either
to
way.
that. Wait, so
Yeah.
yeah, you said that kind of quickly. So you named it after you said three generations of women in your
Yes.
family?
A way to honor my grandmother.
Yes.
Her maiden name was Arlene Moon. So
Okay.
Moon is the M. Bane is my father and my mother, and then
Okay.
Ogunyoku is my husband, my daughter, and I. So it
Okay.
was a way to honor
Yeah.
the three generations, and
Wow.
always have my
MBO.
family with me as I go through the journey of real estate. Um,
Cool.
so yeah, I started the company because I was just not quite content with the companies that I was working for. I wanted to
Mhm.
have a level of integrity that I didn't
Mhm.
necessarily see in real estate. So
Okay.
I wanted to venture out on my own. So I could have just became, continued as a realtor. I could have just stayed as just a broker, but I wanted
Yes.
to have the company structure because eventually I want to hire agents that align with that as well. That's important to me. Integrity is so, so important to me.
That is so good to hear and that's what makes you this entrepreneur that you are. That's amazing. I love the creativity part about honoring the generations in your family with the name of your company. I think that's awesome. Really
Thank you.
awesome. Yes, yes. So, of all of your accolades, you have declared, and we just went through three major jobs, careers that she has, right? But she has declared that becoming a mother and a mom was and still is the biggest achievement of her life. So we're going to spend some time talking about that because I don't hear that statement very often and it's so
Yeah.
profound. I spoke with you about this. All right. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about that declaration and more about your daughter and becoming a mom. How has that changed you?
So I, oh my gosh. So I became a mom later in life. Like I had a whole entire life before my child came. Um,
Yes.
and honestly, I wasn't one of those people that like needed to have a child. Like
Okay.
I was like, if I do meet someone that I love and fall in love with, absolutely being a mother would be great. But I had really no idea like how my daughter would change my life.
Yes.
Um, it was just a very unexpected journey. Like I've been an auntie, I've been a godmommy, I've been all
Yes.
of those things. But there's something about like having a child
Mhm.
come through you and combining you and someone else and just
Mhm.
now they're this full human. It's just I mean I can't say enough things. It's just it's a truly a life altering experience. Um Once she was born,
Mhm.
nothing else really mattered for a while. And I think that's pretty typical. You hear about the
Yes.
serotonin going through the brain and
Yes.
but like
Yes.
literally, she then became my everything. I then had to say, okay, at about a year, I was like, you're still my everything, but I owe it to you to be me
Mm.
because I can't just stop my life and just be a mom. I'm going to be a mom, but I'm going to be me as authentic as I can.
That's
But through her, I mean, she's 9 now, and I'm
yes.
still going, "Do I really have a child? Do I really is she really am I
Wow.
really a mom?
Yes.
Like, I really create it."
Yes.
Like, that's just it's mind-blowing.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, she's 9, and I learn from her every day.
Wow.
I mean, I always say, like, they're so connected to the universe, they're so connected to Earth, God, all of
Yes.
the things, like,
Yes.
they just come they're they're perfection, right?
Yes.
Babies
Yes.
are perfect when they come into this world. Um, as a parent, I think it's a humbling experience to understand that they have more to teach you than you
Mm.
have
Yes.
to teach them.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going off on a tangent,
Oh,
but
that's fine. Yes, I love it because I always say no matter how old we are, we can
yeah,
always learn, even if it's from a child. And you say every single day she teaches you something new. And she's
yeah,
only 9. So you are
or
learning so much from a mini person, a small
yeah.
person, right?
I mean, just as simple as like when she was little and we would go out and she would just stare at a shadow or stare at a flower. And then you're like, oh, wait, that's a reminder to like stop and smell the flowers and really be present in the moment because kids only know how to be present. They
So,
don't have that. I mean, yes, of course, you grow to have a past, you understand that
yes.
there's a future, but you spend a lot of time being in that present moment as a child. And
Yes.
I remember very vividly being a child. So I try to be cognizant of my daughter's experience and try
Yes.
to relate to her as much as possible in that way. But yeah, every day she's teaching me something. And I'm like, huh, okay. And now she has a personality. And she's like, before I
Yes.
could dress her, I could feed her what I want. Now she's telling me what she wants to wear, telling me what,
Wow.
like, wow, you're a full human. Okay. Crazy to me.
You are the mother of a full mini
Human.
me human person. It is amazing. When you think about it, it really is amazing. It really
Mhm,
is amazing. So I'm just glad that that is something that is exciting for you. Because again, with all of the amazing accolades that we talked about, this is still the most important role that you
mhm.
actually play. I think that's great. So
Thank
what
you.
are some of the most challenging aspects of being a mom?
Oh man.
What was
I
challenging?
talked about her personality, right? I
Yeah.
talked about her being a full human.
Yes.
It's not stepping away from the control aspect and saying, okay, I have to honor that you have feelings, emotions. Like I always think I know what's right for my child because she's my child.
Correct.
But I think the hardest part about parenting for me specifically is just stepping back and
Hmm.
saying, okay, let
Yeah.
me hear her out. Let me see her perspective. Let me explain to her why I feel this is this way.
Yes.
But maybe
Yes.
she actually knows something about what's good for her as well. So let me hear her out. So making decisions for her, but allowing her to be part of that and allowing her, I guess they call it child-led parenting. I wouldn't categorize myself as that at all,
Okay.
but I'm learning to be a little bit more like that. Like I'm trying to allow her to actually have some contribution in her own life. Like, hello,
Right.
she's 9. Um, and that's been a challenge. It's just, and my husband, he's Nigerian. He's very, I won't say strict. He's strict. He has a very, I'd say, rigid way of beliefs. Like, I mean,
Okay.
culture, things are
Yes.
different.
Yes.
And also just knowing, like, this is how you talk to your parents. This is how you do. And I completely understand that and respect that and want
Yes.
that. And
Hmm.
we are big on respect,
Yes.
but also just allowing a child to have a voice. And I think that that definitely wasn't something I was raised with. Um,
Yes.
but allowing her to have her voice has allowed her to be this like very self-assured, confident young lady. And I talked to my husband, like, okay, I understand we have to, she has to do this and that, but we don't want a robot, right? We want a child that's going to
Yes.
have be fully well-rounded.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
so that's been a challenge, I think, in our relationship and parenting her and being her mom and just allowing her that grace is probably the biggest challenge so far. She's 9. I'm prepping myself for teenagehood. I'm like bracing myself.
Well, usually
Woo.
they're 9 going on 19, right?
Right,
Most.
exactly. And one thing I will say about my daughter that I love is she has that childlike energy. She
Mm.
has the essence of a kid. And I love that. And I want to keep that innocence as long as possible. Like just
Oh.
allowing her to just be her naturally beautiful kid-like self as long
She's like, I want this to last forever.
and forgive me for having the rose colored glasses on, but I want that for her, I just we grew up too fast.
Yes, we
We,
do. Yes, we
I'll
do.
speak for myself and
Yes, we
everybody I
do.
know, they grew up too fast. So it's like just allow the kid to be a kid,
Yes,
you
I
know?
agree. But one thing that's important that you said, the parenting style, and like you said,
Yeah.
your husband is from an African culture, and me
Uh,
being raised in a Caribbean culture,
mm-hmm.
children don't have a
They don't
voice.
voice.
Girl, you
No.
don't have a voice. You
Right.
just listen, be quiet, we're seen and not heard.
Right.
And that I think was a huge mistake that a lot of us had to go through when we were growing up from our parents.
I
We didn't
think
have a say.
I'm a big advocate of therapy, and I feel like
Yes.
a lot of times therapists talk about allowing, like, taking away your childhood, like breaking it down and saying, okay, what about your
Hmm.
childhood, this and that and the other. I'm
Yes.
trying hard for
Yes.
my child to not have to unpack a lot, to allow her to be like,
Yes.
positive, like just so that she doesn't have to unpack a lot of the childhood stuff. Like I'm
Yes.
doing my best. And
Yes.
that's a conscious choice because we as
Absolutely.
parents we're doing so many things. And
Yes.
it's like
Mhm.
making that choice of like, okay, well, don't let your stuff be her stuff. Don't put on
Yes.
your issue. Sometimes my daughter goes, Mommy, do you work?
Wow.
Baby, I work. She's like, when? I'm like, when you're at school. because she doesn't see
Yes.
me. Because when she's home, I
Yes.
focus on like getting her schoolwork done, helping her, and then like I might have to go and do some more work. And I always work when she's sleeping. Like she doesn't see me work. And I thought that
Yes.
was funny. I'm like,
It
don't you
is.
think acting is a job? Like she knows I act. She knows I do
Yes.
voiceover. And she's like, yeah, I guess. Because she's also an actress, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Ah, like mother, like daughter. I love it. Why not? Why not? But you said something very important again. You said, you have to be cognizant of what you're doing because as parents, we don't realize that everything we do and say is
Mhm.
molding our children. And
Mhm.
you don't want them, like you said, sitting in front of a therapist and they're saying, yeah, I remember when my mom said XYZ and it really
Yeah.
hurt my feelings, but I couldn't
Yeah.
say anything about it because
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
So,
that's where that voice comes in. And I encourage her, like, there's times I make mistakes. Oh, trust me.
yes, of
Virtual
course.
learning.
Of
Oh my
course.
gosh.
Of course.
Um, I make mistakes. I say things and then she'll say to me, Mom, I didn't like that. That hurt my feelings.
Ooh,
At that.
awesome.
And
Yes.
then I'll in turn say when things hurt my feelings and we'll have real conversations. And and if she does say something or does something that's disrespectful and I tell her about it, she'll then apologize and we'll have a conversation. I think
Oh,
you can't be perfect.
beautiful.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's a perfect child. Nobody's a perfect parent. Nobody's a perfect mom.
Exactly. Yes.
But at the end of the day,
Yes.
it's about how you resolve those issues. And
Yes.
I'm just trying to do my best and
Yes. Yes.
communicate her what I feel and let her give her that space to communicate what she feels.
Yes.
And same with daddy and daughter. Whenever they
Awesome.
have a thing, I'll say, Saya, tell daddy what's going on. And I'll say, my husband, listen, and he'll listen. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Thank you.
awesome. I really think it's awesome because, again, I don't hear about many parents who are raising their children in that way. I'm sure there's plenty. I just don't hear about it. I'm just saying because I just know how I was raised and
And you know
the
what though?
culture we were raised in. And it just didn't, this wasn't a thing. It just was a non-issue issue. It just wasn't.
And I will say this, I think there's a lot of parent judgment. I wasn't prepared for that. Like when I became a
Mm.
mom, like all the rules, like, oh, you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that, and you can't do this, and you can't. And I'm like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
What's a helicopter? What's gentle parenting? What's that? Like all this stuff to learn. And it's really like there's no guidebook. You are just in this journey and you got
Yes.
to figure it out. And I think as parents, as
Yes.
moms, support each other. Like that's so important to just like not judge another person's style.
Yes.
Um, because what works for you works for you, or works for me. And
Yes. Yes.
that's something that's new. I didn't know all these rules to parenting, but at the end of the day, it's really what works for you and your child
It. Well,
or
like
children.
that, like you said, there is no handbook. There's no handbook for
Mhm.
parenting. There's no handbook for life. There's even
Right.
no handbook for marriage. So all of these
Exactly.
things, we just gotta figure this stuff out. And like you said, I'm
Yes.
doing the best that I can. I'm being very cognizant of what I do and what I say. I'm, a little bit strategic about it. And that's all we
Mm-hmm.
can do.
Mm-hmm.
Even the worst parents, I say to like clients, well, you can't blame your parents because a lot of
Right.
times they're just doing what they know. It may not work, but that's what they know, so they try it, you
And
know?
I think as
So,
adults, giving our parents, and that's another journey too, and is of self-discovery that she
mhm.
taught me. Being a mom, I realized my mom was a mom. And like
Yes,
what went through her mind when she was raising me and how was she and I just and giving my mother grace for some of this
yes, yes,
that I like, wow, like,
yes,
okay, like she had
yes,
her own life.
yes,
We forget that as children,
yes, we
they had
do.
their own life
Oh,
before me. And just looking back and that's a huge lesson right there.
it sure is because we don't know what they were going through. We just
Mm-hmm.
see them as our moms and we don't have no
Right.
idea what the
Yeah,
pressures of, we don't have no clue. So yes, you're
exactly.
right. We got to give them grace. And
Mm,
again, they did the best that they could, unless of course they were abusive, you know,
right.
really being that way, on purpose. But for the most part, they're
Yeah.
just doing what they know how to do because there is
Mm-hmm.
no rule book. And what works
Exactly.
for one person may not work for someone else. So
Mm-hmm.
give grace to your mothers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lesson learned right now. Just give grace. because they have done the best that they can, you know.
Mm.
So I know we talk a little bit about what you like. What would you say like the best thing about being a mom for you right now?
This is also something you hear all the time, but
Hmm.
it's truly unconditional love.
Mm.
To
Yes.
know at the end of the day, like no matter what, my daughter loves me, you
Yes.
know? And it's like she's never gonna love you. Well, let's just say me. My daughter's never gonna love me like anyone else.
Yes.
It's just a love that I've never had, and a love that I love, and a love that it's just unconditional. And it's truly, truly unconditional love. So that's probably the best part. And also just watching some of me kind of trickle down into her and some of daddy trickle down
Yes.
into her. And
Yes.
just seeing like, oh wow, I have to say this real quick. My daughter, I said to her, we're in the car driving, and I try to give her positive affirmations. But honestly, it's not a positive affirmation. It's just kind of what flows through me because I see this in her.
Hmm.
But I said, Saya, you're beautiful. And she's like, thank you. And I said, and you're kind and you're smart.
Yes.
And then I stopped for a second and I said, what do you think is the most important part about what I just said?
Hmm.
And she said, I'm kind and I'm smart. And I said, yes, yes, yes. Now I know
She
what
gets it.
I'm talking about.
Yes.
It was, it was, it was just like assurance that I was raising her well, confirmation. I was like, oh yeah, because obviously, her internal, external, because I feel like it's one and the same beauty
Hmm.
is whatever, but can you be kind? Can you be smart?
Yes.
Can you share your gifts with the world in that way? And
Yes.
that is so important. And my husband and I are very kind. Um,
Yes.
so when I saw that in that moment, like it wasn't set up, I didn't coach her to saying anything. She
Right.
said that I was like, we're doing something well. We're doing it right. Because that's what I wanted to take away from, bring
Yes.
into her life is how does she treat people and
Yes.
and how much knowledge she knows and how she can give that to others.
Beautiful. And you're
Yeah.
instilling a positive self-esteem and
Yes.
self-confidence in her when you tell her those things.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to grow up knowing those things because
Mm-hmm.
all her life it's been instilled in her. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank
And
you.
beauty comes from within. Even if you're physically beautiful, it's the inner beauty that really counts. And you know that.
Absolutely.
That's what really matters. Because when
Mm-hmm.
that inner beauty comes out, I don't care what you look like, it shines through. It
Mm-hmm.
shines through you. So that's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Ah, ooh,
Thank you.
I love it. Ooh, yes. She's on her way to become an amazing young woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I was going to ask you, my next question is, what are some of the things that you think that you have been raised with as a child that you have trickled down to your daughter? That's probably working for you.
Well, yeah. So my mother and I, one thing I remember when I was really little, she used to call me little brown sugar. I come from a mixed race family, so I was like browner
Yes,
than
yes, yes.
than our siblings. And my mom would be like, "Oh, my little brown sugar," and she used to tell me. I remember very vividly several times. "Oh, Mashari, you're the most beautiful girl in the whole wide world." So
Yeah.
as a little kid, I believed that, right? I
Yes.
wholeheartedly believed
Mhm.
that I was the most beautiful girl in the whole wide world. Of
Awesome.
course, later on, I realized through time and through, my brother, you're not, people telling me, oh, and I look at beauty pageants and I'm like, wow, they're so pretty, but I'm prettier. Like, and then of course, time, life, blah, 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 knocked the ego down. But one thing that it did do was it taught me that to my mother, I was this, and she told my sister the same thing.
Yes.
But to my mother, I was this beautiful person. And I never really took it. I mean, yeah, physical beauty, but for me, it was like, I felt like she was speaking to my soul. And I remember how it made me feel. Like it wasn't even like pretty was a picture. It was more like pretty was a beauty, like a something to behold. So that is something I do again, not even trying to. I just look at her and go, God, God, you're beautiful. God, you're sweet. God, you're smart. You know, and all of these things, going back to what I said before, that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Also with my father, he was always present. And I remember, like, when I would go to bed at night, he would sit there and tuck me in. And to this day, my husband and I, one of us will sit with her until she falls asleep. And no, she's 9. I know.
Nice.
Isn't she too
Wow.
old for that? There's going to be a day when he tells us to leave. So right now we're like, you know what? While she still wants us there, yeah, we'll sit with her while she goes to sleep.
Yes.
Um, and so those two things. And then my grandmother was very instrumental in raising me.
Mm,
She was like a second mom. And I just think the wisdom that my grandmother bestowed on me, I'm trying to bestow on my daughter.
yes.
And one thing that we didn't necessarily have, my parents and me, it was open communication. So to break that cycle, I'm trying my best to have open communication about all sorts of things with my child. Although she's not necessarily comfortable talking to me about everything, but I try. But yeah, so those are the three things from my family that I passed down.
Beautiful. So like I said, generation and just instilling more and more. And you're building more. But that's beautiful because what I heard was that your mom also instilled that positive self-confidence and self-esteem in you at a very young age as well. And that's what you're doing right now with your daughter. You're
And
instilling
I
the
think
same
it is
concept.
important because had I not had a little bit of somebody telling me something positive, when
Yes.
all of the yucky teasing and
Yeah.
life stuff happened, it might have destroyed me. But because I had that little foundation of my mother seeing something good in me, it allowed me to kind of grow up and be like, okay, regardless of the world,
Yes.
I am beautiful. I am smart. I am, and yeah, definitely trying to do that with my daughter. And so far it's working. So that's good. I'm very confident.
Well, well, a little bit goes a long way. And that's
Mhm,
what I'm taking from this story. Because again, if most of us as parents, even when we were being raised, were to hear such little positive things about ourselves and not so
mhm.
much of the negative, a lot of us
Yeah.
probably would not have struggled with self-esteem as an adult. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because it was never
Right.
really instilled. Nobody was
Yeah.
telling us we're beautiful. No one was telling us that we were smart. But whenever we
Mhm,
did something wrong, it was always highlighted.
mhm.
Always.
Yeah.
Why didn't you
Yeah.
get an A in school? You
Right.
gotta be, you're doing, you're
Right.
thinking that's amazing. And it was always the negative that was always more instilled than the positive. And we grew up
Mm-hmm.
with low self-esteem, low
Yeah.
self-confidence. Some of us were called names even. So just that
Yeah.
little bit that you got, even though other people are probably calling you names and picking on you, you got a
Hmm.
little bit from your guardian or caretaker, your parent, and that
Hmm.
really meant the world to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So a little bit goes a long way.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Excuse me. So you kind of led into my next question for you, talking about difficult topics. How do you
Hmm.
explain difficult topics to your daughter? What
You
is
know, I don't think I ever learned a proper way to do that. I just,
okay.
in other words, like when something happens, I just tell her. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat
Mhm.
things. I'm going to tell her in age appropriate language.
Okay. Yes.
For example, when she was, I think it was like 5 or 6, there was the El Paso shooting in a Walmart store.
Mm.
And I said, to bring awareness, of course, I'm not going to put fear into my child, but I said, honey, when we're in a store, if you ever hear a loud noise, I want you to just run and hide. Don't come looking for mommy, just go run and hide.
Okay.
I don't want to have that conversation with my child. She's like, well, what do you mean? I said, if you ever hear a loud noise, something that scares you, just go run and hide because her little tiny self could find a place to go versus coming to me and then whatever.
Right.
So that was difficult, very
Uh,
difficult subject to,
yes.
but
Yes.
I wanted her to understand that there's noise, run. As she got older, we went to the African American History Museum last year,
Mhm.
and she saw a lot of disturbing things. And I don't hide history from her, and I just explain it starting from Africa into America. I don't start with slavery. That's not where African history began. That's not where her
Correct.
history began.
Correct.
I start with Africa and then go all the way to modern day and just kind of explain it in a language that she can understand. Um, and I mean, we go through that all the time. Like, if somebody says something that hurts her feelings, I tell her how to address that, and like right then and there. Like, I don't wait. I don't put things on the back burner. I'm very, very honest with her. And like I said, sometimes too honest to the point. She's like, "Mommy, stop. I don't want to know." I was like, "Don't you want to know who I have a crush on?" She's like, "I know. It's I'm like, fine, it's daddy." But
Yes.
but I said, "Who do you have a crush on?" She's like, "Mommy, stop." I'm like, "Okay, okay, we'll talk about that." Um, but I want her to know. In other words, I bring stuff up like that so that we could have open dialogue and try to allow her to
Yeah.
allow me to be that person she comes to. And I think she knows that. We're
Mhm.
not at the point where we're having those conversations about, you know, dating or anything like that yet.
Correct.
But I'm trying to prepare myself and her for
Yes.
that by just, letting her know that she can come to me with anything.
That's awesome. And it's a very important question because I know that there's always this debate, well, should I allow my school or teachers to bring
Right.
up, right, certain conversations rather than the parent? But I am
Yeah,
experienced with you. I rather it comes from the parents first. So I think
absolutely.
that's what they're obligated to do.
Because
Oh,
the world is going to tell her, the friends are going to tell her, the teachers are going to tell her, environment, life will tell
yes.
her. So
Yes.
let your voice be the first voice they hear, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yes.
ideally,
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
Well, to say because she will get their version of
Mm-hmm.
whatever that topic is, that she'll get that
Exactly.
version. But what is interesting, because my last interview, I was speaking with a college student and talking about, massacres, shootings on campus. And the
Yeah.
thought that I just remembered, yeah, you have a 9-year-old. So that means that you're also having to have that kind of conversation. At least I know the schools are probably doing drills
Yeah.
and talking with the
They
babies
Let me
about
tell you something. They have started doing that in her school, like from, I want to say, second grade. Like, she's like, "Yeah, I'm doing a what do they call it? A
yes.
lockdown drill." And I said, "Well, what is a lockdown drill?" Asking her so she can explain. And she says,
Wow.
"Oh, it's when, something happens and, somebody comes into the school and I'm supposed to
Wow.
hide." And this is at like 7 years old. She's explaining to me a lockdown drill. And I was like, "Well, I'm grateful they had it. It's
Wow.
sad that we live in a world where this has to happen, but I'm grateful that the school is doing that."
Yes.
Um, so she knows to keep saying, "I was at her school the other day." I mean, this is kind of soft. Well, it's
Okay,
about the
good.
drill. So I was at the school, they're doing a presentation on the missions. They're learning about missions in fourth grade.
Okay.
And there was an earthquake. And so all the parents are standing around like, and all the kids immediately went under the desks. Like, all of them.
Wow.
Like, all the exact same time, they cover their heads, they're under the desk. I'm like, and all the parents are just standing there like, "Oh, well, what do we do?" And then they're like, "Okay, guys, let's go." And they
Oh
lined up,
my
they went out into the
gosh.
patio, and we're like, "Oh, we have to go with her. We have to go with them." Okay. The kids were on point, the teachers were on point. I'm like, wow, like, they
That's
got those kids trained. So
amazing.
if that's an earthquake drill, like, I can imagine it's the same with the lockdown drill. And it's
Wow.
I don't ever want to put fear into my child's head, because that's, I mean, the
Correct.
media, everything
Correct.
surrounding us will put fear into her head, but just to allow her to be aware
Yes.
of
Yes.
these things and know that, we have to be safe. We have to be aware and how to
Absolutely.
handle these search situations. So yeah.
Well, it's always said we should always have a safety plan, even in our own home, right? We should have a
Right,
plan
right.
for fire. We should have a plan for different things that can happen in our own home. And
Yeah,
again, the way that the world is right now must have a plan for
yeah,
shootings and stuff like that. It's just amazing that babies, these little babies have to learn this kind of stuff. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. But they got it. They're on point.
Yeah,
They're on,
yeah.
they got it. Wow, they know what to do when it comes to dangerous situations. And we're like,
Mhm.
oh. Oh, we're supposed to go down on our knees? Yeah. Duh, almost. But we
Yeah,
don't have those drills. We don't know
exactly.
Lolas, but they do. So that's good to know that at least they have that.
Hmm.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. I'm loving the conversation. But with
Thank
all
you.
of this, actress, voiceover, real estate broker, mom, ooh, when do you have time for you? When do you have time to engage in any kind of hobbies? And do you have hobbies? And if you do,
You
what
know,
are they?
I was trying to figure out the other day. I was like, dude, what? I have things that bring me joy.
Yes.
So, as far as like a hobby, I would say I love to bake. So I'm
Ooh,
a vegan.
yes.
My family's vegan, and we so typical California vegan. But
Yes.
but I'd say one of my hobbies is baking. Like when I get the opportunity to bake, I love it. Um, but things I like to do for fun, I love getting massages. I
Yes.
love meeting up with friends. I feel like conversation is important. So keeping in contact with my friends,
Yes.
calling them on the phone, like that stuff is relaxing for me. Binge watching reality TV. Um,
I love it.
I like because you know why? It literally is a form of meditation. And hear me out for a second.
Yes.
When you're watching somebody else's drama, like Love is Blind or Married at First Sight or those silly shows,
Yes.
it's like, wow. Like I'm so immersed in their life that I forget all my issues. So it's a really form of relaxation for me.
Yes.
I love to go to vegan festivals, things like that. But I
Mm.
will say that my family is incorporated with most of the things that I do for fun.
Yes,
But
of
baking,
course.
baking and massage would be like, is that a hobby? Massage? Receiving massages?
Sure.
It's a
Well,
guilty pleasure. I don't know.
it's
But it's
definitely
also
part of being self-care, which is my next question
it's
for you. It's definitely a self-care thing, if nothing else.
it's a necessity for self-care.
Absolutely. I love that.
I
Big.
used to be a massage therapist though.
Oh, my, that's for another,
One of
that's for another
many,
show. Oh,
many career paths. Yeah.
interesting. So you understand
Oh, it's so healing. Yeah.
benefits. Yes, the benefits of getting a massage. And I think it's
Mhm.
something that, again, working moms who put themselves on the back burner, these
Yeah.
are definitely some of the things that they should be engaging in at least every couple of months. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But it doesn't sound to me that you're one of those moms who puts herself on the back burner. From what I'm hearing, you sound pretty well-rounded, managing everything else and being a mom as well. That's
I
what
just
I right
think, yeah, I mean, I definitely, obviously everything I do is for my child, everything I do is for her,
there.
but it's so important. You can't give from an empty cup. So I feel like I need to fill my cup up as much as possible. And I'll tell my husband, like, if I've had a day or a week, like sometimes he travels for work.
Mhm.
And if I'm alone with my child and the dogs, I have two puppies,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be a lot. And I'll say, look, I just need to, woosah, just let me. So, he'll take over and I'll just go to the room and just like relax and it's important. And I recognize that in myself when I need those breaks.
Yes.
um Especially if I am starting to like get irritable with my child or frustrated. It's like, okay, this isn't about her. Let me just take some time, let mommy have a timeout, right?
Yes,
Let me go on a
absolutely.
timeout, just and come
Absolutely.
back to one. So it's so important. And I think, you know we as moms, we want to, obviously we put our kids first, but you have to also put yourself there, because
Yes.
again, what are you able to give to others if you are not okay? So
Ooh.
check in with yourself and make sure you're okay.
Well said. Yes, kids are first, but we also have to put ourselves at a very high priority. I love the fact
Yes.
that you said you can't give from an empty cup. Your cup has to be
Mhm.
full, and you
Yeah.
have to be cognizant of when you need to take that time out.
Yeah.
Mommy needs a break sometimes.
Yes.
We're super women and we can be that person, but mommy needs a break sometimes. And that's when you take that time out for yourself. So tell me, if we're going right into the next question, what does
Okay.
self-care look like for you? How important is that for you?
Yeah, very important. And that's when, like, one of the things I also love to do is just a bath. It's simple.
Yes.
It's simple, but just to take a bath, sometimes just soaking and just like just letting everything go away for a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, Again, massage, sitting
Hmm.
in the room alone, sometimes in the dark, just to reflect. I used to write a lot, and I think writing is so therapeutic. I want to get
Yes.
back to that. Thanks for
Yes.
the reminder. But
Yes.
yeah, I used to write a lot, like just how I feel,
Mhm.
because again, sometimes you don't want to talk to someone, you just want to get it out, and
Yes.
that's the way.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, those things, and then I also might do a little bit of retail therapy
Of
online. I do a
course.
lot of shopping, but it's only when like as a treat or just a way to like just browse browse the internet for different things. Um, yeah, so those are the things, and it's so important. It really is.
Yes, I love it. Many years ago, remember that commercial, Calgon, take me away.
I so
Remember
remember
that?
that's my
Love
motto.
it.
Yeah.
Because it is
Yeah.
like an intimate journey. Close that door. You know how we girls, we put on the candles and the little
Lavender.
jazz and have
Mm,
this bubble, and it just, oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Baths are underrated. A simple bath
I
can
agree.
transform your mood, like totally. So
And sometimes that's all you have time for. A 30-minute nap, a 20-minute, bath.
yeah,
Sometimes that's all you have time for. And it's
yeah,
so relaxing. It's so therapeutic. And it's
absolutely.
affordable.
Right.
But
It
not
doesn't
everyone
cost
can afford a massage. But everyone
or
can
even just a
afford
tea.
some
Like
bath.
a cup of tea is also a good little like,
Yes.
moment, or coffee if you drink coffee, just
Yes.
that.
Yes. At our moment. Yes. But we need to take that time for ourselves. This is so, so important. And again, recognizing when I need to step back and
Yeah.
doing that. Because like you said, you know when you're being irritable to your child. You're yelling and your tone of voice
Yeah.
elevates. And we know it wasn't your child's fault. All she did was
Yeah.
ask for some peanut butter and jelly and you're snapping.
Right.
Now it's
You
me. I
want
know
another
it's me.
snack?
Yes.
Right, right,
So we
right.
know it's time to step back and take a break. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I do not want to stop the conversation, but we gotta wrap it up. Is there anything else, Miss Shari, that you would like to leave with our guests today?
Oh my
Anything at
goodness.
all? For moms, let's say for
Yeah.
moms in particular. Yes.
Yeah, I think I used to think that the way to change the world was to do something like a big act of service, or uh, give a huge donation, and those are ways you can change the world. But I think
Yes.
what I've learned through my life is that by being as much of a light in this world as I possibly can is changing the world one person at a time, spreading kindness, spreading love, giving as much as you possibly can, just a kind word when you're able, um, raising your children to be that, just to be a light in the world, because I believe in collective manifestation, collective prayer. The things that you want in your life,
Mhm.
the world to have, be that. As they say, be the change you want to see in the world. Um, just really like be the light, be the love, spread the love.
Love it.
And whatever you're doing in your world, just know that you are making a difference by being like you are making a difference, young lady.
Yes.
By
Yeah.
spreading your joy and spreading your love, and just that beautiful smile you have, like
Oh,
something as simple as that can
yes.
you brighten up my day.
Yes.
So just knowing that you can do that, and you have the power to do that, and never underestimating the power of yourself and what you're able to do.
Beautiful. Well said. It's again another amazing point because sometimes we think it has to be something big,
Right.
and it doesn't. It's a
And it
smile.
doesn't cost anything to be nice. It
It
doesn't cost anything
doesn't.
to be kind.
It's
And I
free.
just I always have to check in with myself and make
Hmm.
sure I'm giving from a pure place,
Hmm.
because I'm a giver. I like to do all these things, but I know I've learned my boundaries,
Yes.
and what feels good to me and what doesn't. And I'm like, I feel now when I'm doing things, it's purely with good intention and knowing that and recognizing that. And that's, yeah, that's my growth. That's,
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Because again, I said this to someone before, the best things in life is free.
mm-hmm,
We all have it already. And all we have to
mm-hmm,
do is give it. And it doesn't cost us a thing. A kind
mm-hmm.
word, a simple good morning. How
Yeah,
you doing? We don't know what people are going through. That could make their day because no one else has said that to them. You know what I
right.
mean? So,
Yeah.
yes, beautiful. Absolutely. Well said. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Whew. This was an amazing interview. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Mashari, thank you so much for taking the time out to come on here and just giving us your point of view on being a mom. And what I took away is, again, you have this amazing list of accolades, all the things that you have done. But being a mom and being a mother to this beautiful 9-year-old girl is the best thing that you've ever done. And I just love that. It's just
Thanks.
because, again, simple. The most important thing, you're doing the most important thing is shaping a
Mm.
future generation, shaping this young woman to become all that she can and will be because of your
Thank,
guidance and your husband, of course, both of y'all's guidance to shape her and
thank you.
mold her. So I think that is just a beautiful thing. And it was Mother's Day in London. Right? Again, I have family in England. So I just realized that yesterday. So I was like, oh my God, happy Mother's Day. It's kind of day late. But mother's just so underrated sometimes, you know.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
we know the job, the role is hard. It's a hard, hard, hard role. And I'm not glad that I just want to do an interview with someone who wants to talk on that role because it's such an important role that we don't talk about enough, you know,
Thank you for
right? Absolutely.
thank you, thank you for acknowledging that because it is a difficult job.
Yes.
But it is, like you said, one of the most important. And it's like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't think about moms and mom, mom, mom. But
No.
like, yeah, thank you for seeing me as a mom and
Yes.
thank you for seeing
Yes.
moms.
Yeah.
Girl.
We could have gone on so many, right, parts of you because again, it's fascinating to know, oh my gosh, she's an actress and she's this. And it's fascinating, it's amazing. But when you said no, the most important thing is being a mom, I said that's the angle we have to go on.
Mhm,
That is her most important role in life. So
mhm.
yeah, we want to go with that. And I'm so glad that we did because
Thank,
it's it's precious.
thank
You just can't get back. I mean, come on, we know how moms are sacrificing. They do everything. So
you.
that's
Mhm,
again just hearing it from someone who again could have said anything else from your list of accolades. But this is the most important part. So again, thank you so, so much for shedding
thank
light
you.
on this topic for us. Okay, so guys, we are going to wrap it up. Oh my gosh, another amazing interview. Guys, if you have not already liked and subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do so YouTube can like put this stuff out for more people. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Have yourself an amazing day. See you next time. Bye for now.